back to Heretic 3D. It is finally time for my review of the Anycubic Kobra S1 Combo. During this video, we're going to discuss what my pros, cons, and overall thoughts are on this setup right here. We'll go over the various prints I've done and its print quality. And ultimately, I'll let you know whether I feel it's worth your hard-earned money or not. Alright, some of the features you get with the Anycubic S1 Combo are multicolor printing courtesy of the Ace Pro, and with the Ace Pro you also get active filament drying. You can print advanced materials with a hot end that reaches 320 degrees Celsius, and it has onboard air filtration. Overall build volume of 250 millimeters cubed, and that build volume is fully enclosed. It is very quiet compared to other machines that are on the market, and it has a bright 4.3-inch color touchscreen display. And with the Ace Pro you have 4 PTFT tubes that go to one hub and then a short PTF tube that goes to the print head, versus other brands where you have one tube coming out of their multicolor material system, which boils down to faster color changes. Loading filament is also pretty easy. Just push it in and it'll start to auto feed. Close your lid and make sure to latch it shut. Head on over to your touch screen. Hit the little filament icon. Now if you're using any of the Anycubic filaments, they've taken a page out of some other brands' notebooks and put in an RFID chip which will automatically detect what you've put in there. But if not, you can use any other brand. Just select what material, what color, and you're off to the races. Now the Anycubic slicer is essentially a reskinned version of Orca, so if you've ever used Orca or a bamboo slicer, you're going to find yourself right at home. And here I am slicing a file of Freddie Mercury that I found on Maker Online, which is Anycubic's file sharing site, much like Printables and MakerWorld. And of course you can grab files from whatever site you wish, whether it be file sharing, Patreon, or membership. I tend to get a lot of my files from Nikko Industries. Lately he's been doing some adorable little turtle mashups with popular characters. And for this test print I decided to go with his take on Stitch. Now of course in the Anycubic slicer you can paint your files, but one thing Nikko's been doing a lot lately is pre-painting them for you. So it's just limiting one extra step for you. So I decided to print 3 of these little guys. Now after your slice, you're going to have some extra options to choose once it gets to the next page. You know, level your bed, turn on the filament dryer, which is in the Ace Pro, which you don't get that in the standard AMS. Anycubic also has a smartphone app where you can search files and send them directly to your printer. And you can also adjust all the extra little settings like the filament drying, bed leveling, time lapse, all the fun stuff. And much like another company's app that's out there, you can hop onto the app anytime you have something printing, check the settings, see how everything's working, check the camera, see how that's going, and if you absolutely have to, you can hit stop. Now during this time-lapse montage, I did want to touch on the AI monitoring that Anycubic is offering with this printer. Not once did I have it work correctly. The 3 failures I did have, it did not detect any failure and just kept on going. The 4 times I did get a notification about there being spaghetti detected, I checked the print and there was absolutely no issue with the print at all. This is something that Anycubic definitely needs to fix with a firmware update. Now here are some examples of what this machine can actually do quality-wise as far as multicolor, solid color, and advanced material. Needless to say, I was very pleased with what this machine was able to do, especially given its price point compared to its competitors. And oh yeah, you can also do helmets. This one, of course, is from Nikko Industries. And this gave me the opportunity to do my favorite trick with MMUs, and that's telling the machine that every slot is the exact same color to burn through remnants. Gotta admit, that quality is pretty damn good. Now a head-to-head comparison with Bamboo Slicer versus Anycubic Slicer, using the exact same files and the exact same settings. And with using the same settings across the board, the Bamboo is a little bit faster, but the Cobra takes a little bit less filament. With the exception of the different textures from the build plates, you really can't tell what was printed on what, and that's a good thing. Alright, here's another look at all the different pieces I printed while reviewing this printer. Again, cannot complain about the quality of the prints and what this machine was able to put out. And probably my biggest nitpick from my experience is with the slicer itself and its filament library. The Anycubic slicer only has the Anycubic filaments preloaded. You can add others if you want to, but Bamboo and their slicer, of course, has their filament, has generic profiles, and several other brands to choose from already pre-baked into the software. Even Orca Slicer, when you choose the Kobra S1 and go into the filaments, again, multiple brands, not just Anycubic. This is something Anycubic could fix very, very easily, and I hope they do. And now the big one, pricing. These are the prices at the time of recording, and this is not including whatever may happen with tariffs. Bamboo P1S combo with the standard AMS is $8.99. Remember, that AMS does not have a filament dryer built in. The Anycubic Kobra S1 Combo, $6.99 with the Ace 1 that does have filament drying. You can always pick up a separate filament dryer off a site like Amazon. But for a single bay, you're looking anywhere from $45 to $89. You can occasionally find a 2-bay for about $45. But to get a 4-bay filament dryer, you're going to be looking roughly about $135. So overall, the S1 combo is a pretty significant savings. Hey, Editor Mike here. While editing this, I realized there was one very important thing I forgot to mention. I didn't encounter this with my machine firsthand, but I did encounter it with my neighbors. During the review process on this, he saw I was enjoying the machine. He's always paid attention to what I do with my 3D printers. He liked the price, he liked the functionality, so he ordered one. But immediately right out of the gate, after he got it first set up, he could not get it to feed any filament. Kept giving him an error code that there was an obstruction. Couldn't find anything. Finally, we figured out what it was. Anycubic, doing their due diligence like any company should, ran filament through the printer to make sure it was working before they shipped it. But at the end of that process, there was a little bit of filament still in the PTFE tube, right above the extruder where the extruder couldn't grab onto it. The ACE, while it does push filament through the tubes to get to the extruder, it's not with a lot of force. And when it felt the pushback from the filament that was already in the tube, it errored out. The reason I bring this up is it wasn't just his printer that's had this. I've seen it across several forums and web pages and Facebook groups with people having the same issue. While I appreciate Anycubic doing their due diligence with testing their machines, they do need to make sure that that tube is completely clear before shipping out their device. This ended up being a very frustrating experience for my neighbor with a printer that he was extremely excited to get up and running and get to printing. All right, with all that being said, all the information on the table, the pros, the cons, the quirks, the features. Is Anycubic Kobra S1 Combo worth your hard-earned money? At the end of the day, yeah, I think it is. With its features versus cost against the other printers that are in the same market, I think it's definitely worth taking a look at. Is it perfect? No, there's no such thing as a perfect printer. But 99% of the cons and quirks I found with this machine can be addressed and fixed with firmware updates and tweaks to the slicing software. But that's my opinion. I hope this is informative, maybe a little bit entertaining. If you enjoyed it, consider hitting that subscribe button. But until then, thanks for watching.